Would you look at that? As promised, I've got a Scout on the back of my truck. We're standing on the back of my truck in a Scout in Minnesota. We've had it about 6 months. What we wanted to do is take a little time out here in the woods on the North Shore of Minnesota and show you kind of what the inside of a Scout looks like. There were a ton of questions that we had leading up to purchasing the Scout. We're hoping that this video can help you guys figure out the things you're wondering. So if you have any other questions that we didn't cover, leave a comment, send us a DM, mail us a letter. Let us know, because we're here to help you. Let's get to it. Overall, one major concern for us was just the space and how much room there was going to be. I'm a husky 5'11", and there's probably room for a solid 4 of me to stand here, as long as we don't have to move or do anything. I can stand up just fine. Brother-in-law, who's like 6'4", stands up just fine. I don't know if he can lay down on the bed. We'll get to that later. But I'm actually pretty stoked about the space. Like, you know, it's pretty solid. No, like it feels pretty roomy. Like if you got 2 people standing here, it'll be a little crowded, but changing clothes here, cooking, everything, you feel like you have a lot of room. It's actually surprising when you get in, because from the outside, it doesn't seem like it would be this roomy. So overall, space is good. Now, before we get into all this, we have done 0 modifications to the Scout. A lot of people, they do a ton of mods. They add drawers, they add systems. We're pretty much bone stock. We thought we were gonna modify things a lot more than we have, but we found it's pretty good to go, like right from the factory. So this is just a look at what a bone stock Scout looks like after 20 some odd nights camping. So I guess the place we'll start is the door. This is how you get in and out. A lot of people don't know that. Now it is basically just like an RV door. It has a latch, it has a lock here, which we didn't know. There's a lock from the outside with a key. Also for 2023, they added this shade that snaps on here like this, which we have found really nice. The other night when we were sleeping in a Walmart parking lot, this blocked out all the light. It was really dark in here. Now this window does not open. It's the only one that doesn't. I have seen some people put a screen, like an insect screen that goes all around the perimeter of the door. That seems like a pretty cool mod. While this window doesn't open, all of the other ones do. So these 2 side windows, they're both almost identical. They each have 4 of these locks. They pop open like that. So they can be that far open, that far open, I think one more, or that far open. So you get a really good breeze going. We were pretty impressed with the amount of airflow that's generated almost right away. This Scout gets really hot. Pop these windows open, pop open the sunroof, and it just creates a great airflow. Now from the bottom, there's a screen that slides up and locks to the top. So that keeps all the bugs out, any riffraff. You're pretty good to go. The cool thing is it's connected to a blackout shade from the top. So they're like kind of one little situation, which is pretty cool. They come up and down independently, but they also can be connected, which is pretty cool. Pretty impressed with these windows. I think the right and left are identical, except the right side, you know, stage right, is some sort of emergency exit. Luckily, we've never had to use that, but it's there if needed. Just pop this up one last time. Closes. Make sure you lock it before you drive away, because it'd be a bad day if you didn't. The other thing that these do, which I kind of forgot about, is they have like a venting feature. So if you see in here, there's these 2 little stoppers for when you lock it and unlock it. So you can move it just like half an inch, and I think that's to get ventilation for airflow when you have the heater on, which we definitely should have been doing last 3 nights when we had the heater on. We'll do it from now on. Both windows do that. So on the subject of airflow, there's another little trinket here. This is an exhaust fan. Pop it open just like that. Turn it on here. It's like an exhaust fan like your kitchen at home. So when you're cooking, it sucks all the smoke out. One time we forgot to turn it on. The old smoke detector went off. Just turn it on when you're cooking. Easy as that. Now we may or may not have driven with this open for a little bit, so it sounds a little weird. Probably got something stuck in there. All right, so next on the list is the old Lifesaver water tank. You probably heard it sloshing around a little bit. I don't know if you can hear that. But this is actually a pressurized water tank, water filter situation. So the way this works is these little screw nuts here. 3 hours later. They unscrew. And it is mounted to some brackets here that attach to the the side of the Scout. It does get pretty heavy when she's full. So Kathleen claims she can't lift it. So it's pretty heavy. So this has a filter included, embedded inside of it. It's pretty cool because it is pressurized. This unscrews. This is where you fill it up from. This is your pump. I'm spilling water everywhere. So you make sure that's screwed on tight. And then when you want to pressurize it, you just pump it like this. That gets your water pressure. There's a little knob here you turn on or off. So you have it on. And then this little sprayer, it's just like what you had like in your sink at home. It just sprays water out. It's pretty good. When it's full and you get it pumped up, you can get some pretty decent water pressure. It's nothing like your house, so don't get too excited. But it's enough to wash your hands, brush your teeth, do your dishes, fill up a water bottle, spray your wife. A big thing about this bad boy, don't put it under too much pressure for too long. You want to depressurize that. So this is pressurized right now because I didn't spray too much water. So I unscrew this. You hear that? It's like an airlock in space, okay? Supposedly this filters water like really well, so you can just put, you know, some questionable H2O into there. With this being filtered, it's kind of weird because you're supposed to always leave, they say 2 inches of water in it. Now, I don't know if that means 2 inches this way, that way, I don't know. But you want to leave a little water in there, otherwise the filter supposedly can dry out, which is a bad time for everyone because apparently they're pretty expensive. We've only had this 6 months, haven't touched the filter. I honestly haven't really thought about it that much, but apparently you just keep the water in there, keep her moist. What we like to do. It's really important that you don't leave this in your Scout in the winter. Just like a pipe in your house, there's no insulation here, so whatever temperature it is outside is going to be inside if you don't run the heater. So that's just something to be pretty on top of. A lot of people complain about this bad boy dripping while they drive. From our experience, we always depressurize it before we drive around. We make sure that the nozzle knob is off, so that it doesn't have any water going. You can pull this hose off here. It's not my favorite. A lot of people really hate this thing. We heard a lot of, there's a lot of shit being talked on the internet about this bad boy. We had planned to buy the Dometic water dispenser. It's like electric. It's pretty trick. And we were just gonna have it sit here. It's like a touch on and off button. It's like an electric pump. But we've found this to be decent. We haven't had any issues. The only annoying thing is this thing falls off all the time. But that's literally, it's just like, I think this is just a cosmetic little hose thing. So it's really no big deal. You just shove it back on. So that brings us to the next installment of things inside the Scout, which is the sink. So the sink here has this cover over top, which gives you a pretty decent amount of counter space. We generally have this off. We store it here behind the fridge. It's a pretty decent size. I don't know, it's like that long. It's got a stopper in the bottom so you can fill it up. It does just drain outside, so you can put a bucket on the outside if you want to. We keep our soap right here. A lot of times when we're driving around, we just keep stuff inside of there because it's a good place for all the, either a dirty dish, a little bit of soap. We like it. We brush our teeth in it. Hasn't gotten clogged yet. It drains like right down below and just out the side. So it does kind of get a little gunk on the outside if you don't clean it, but no big deal. Yeah, it's a sink. It does sink things. So moving on from the sink, we're going under the sink. Under the sink. Under here is like a cubby. Now, this cubby is prime space for people to modify. We expected to do something. We probably still will. We haven't yet. So we just kind of have our crap in here. This is a garbage disposal. No, I'm just kidding. It's not. So we keep our headlights here, speaker, lighter, scissors, mugs, wipes, stuff like that. We like it here because right here you can reach from outside of the camper. That's why we keep the headlights there. This bag, we will do a whole video devoted to these bags, but all our kitchen stuff fits in this bag. It's from REI. Literally a miracle. So you can see two more peeking out right there. All of our kitchen stuff goes in here. We got a cutting board, Shouts out to Barb Sump. Some Tupperwares for cheese on the hikes. It's awesome because this REI bag literally fits perfectly in this cubby. It just stops on this lip right here so it doesn't fall out. And it kind of keeps everything from falling out when we're driving. Bougies, we got the coffee maker that goes right here, the jet boil, some extra fuel back there. That's pretty much it. Cooking spray. A lot of people put a cover or a drawer or something on this. We've been contemplating it, but our system works really well. You basically just pull this whole thing out, put it on the table, you can access all your stuff, you shove it back in there. Now this goes for anything you see in the video. If you want like some detailed measurements of this cavity, because you want to plan ahead for your Scout, let us know, happy to help. This kind of becomes a catch-all, so it's hard because I like to just shove shit in there. Kathleen yells at me because it makes it disorganized. Keeps a tight ship. Keeps a tight Scout.
Goes on the left, or the right, not the left.
Case in point. Moving on from the cubby to the stove. So this was the object of much consternation because we had a nice like Eureka camp stove. We had contemplated just not ordering this and putting that camp stove here to save the $300 or $400, whatever it was. But then we learned a few things. So number one, our camp stove would just barely fit here. Which we're already at a premium for space, so this is like the perfect size, obviously. The other reason that we decided to get this was because the propane hookup would not work with our camp stove. So our camp stove runs off those little green Coleman propane tanks, like 95% of the other ones do. We had kind of assumed that this would as well, but this has a special quick connect situation back here, and that runs through the camper up to the propane tank. There's a little 20-gallon propane tank up under the front of the camper that this runs off of. So we don't have any propane tanks inside of here. It basically is just like your home oven. And this is awesome. We do wonder because we wish these could open a little bit more because at a certain point, this is almost just a single burner stove because the second burner is so small. So we're probably gonna figure out a way to open these a little bit further, maybe like a little, I don't know, piece of wire or something that could make these open a little bit more. I think it'd be a lot more useful because it's tough to fit two like 8-inch pans here. Other than that, lights up good. I think it's off right now. Yeah, it's off. Lights up, has an electric starter that usually works pretty good. I feel like those things never work for too long, but so far ours is cooking. Lots of warning signs. These things, you gotta have them slide up. When you fold them in, it can be a little bit weird, and then you fold it. You just kind of got to lift up on everything to fold it down. Then it's like this. So this bad boy is not connected. It's not screwed in. It's just got these little straps, which are kind of all over the Scout. So you can lift this right up. This you can pick up, take outside, and there's another cable to the propane tank you can wire and put on a picnic table or on a little drawer that slides out on the tailgate. Pretty much wherever you want within like 10-foot radius you can cook. So yeah, camp stove is approved. Let's talk about the ceiling. Okay, so if you've noticed these little brackets on the top, they are, I don't know what they're called. It's called the roof brackets or something. So you can buy from Scout, you can buy bags that sit right here. We decided not to get the bags, but we got the brackets. Now, the brackets come with the bed rail system, which we'll show you in a second. But what we use them for all the time, we hang up a bunch of stuff, like hats hang up there really nicely. Towels when they're wet, they need to dry. Wet clothes, hang them up there. Especially when you're driving, it gets real hot in here, so stuff dries pretty quickly. In the summer, we have a fan we hang up here. So that just kind of lives right there. You can turn it around. These are nice to have. We just didn't think we needed the bags. But overall, they're pretty useful to have. There's a few more hooks. We got those two up there, which I actually forgot existed. Never used them, but maybe we should use them for something. We got another one back here, which is the same one. We've got this REI laundry bag that we hang back here for all the dirty clothes. It just kind of hangs out there and it hooks up onto that hook. So we use that hook. We'll figure out how to use for those hooks. We'll keep you updated. So the next subject of the ceiling, these lights. So these are dimmable. They run off of the battery, the Goal Zero, which we'll show you in a second. These are just touch on and off. Just a little capacitive switch. There's no physical switch. Now, if you ask me, they're a little cool, a little fluorescent for our liking. So we've seen on the Scout Facebook group, which, pro tip right there, check out the Scout Facebook group. Tons of helpful folks. You can get gel filters, I think is what they're called, that change the temperature of this light. They're a little, a little corporate. I want to make it a little warmer, feel a little more vibey in here. I think that's going to make actually a really big difference. There are 3 total. There's 1 under the front bed, which I'm not going to reach right now. There's 2 back here. At night, the lighting is, I like the niceness. At night, the lighting in here is pretty great. Turn these on. The one over the bed, you can turn off from the bed, which is pretty nice touch. This one, I feel like, I think I can reach this one from the bed too if I really try my best, which I always do. Those are lights. They're just LEDs. They don't really draw that much power that we noticed. They're not on for like a super long time. So one interesting thing that we've been wondering that we just tested is how much power these draw. So when I have this full brightness and I look down at the Goal Zero, this draws about 4 to 5 watts. So right now, with only the fridge on, we're drawing 9 watts. Turn this on, full blast. We're at 14 watts, it's 5 watts. Turn this down as dim as it can go. And we're back down to 9 watts. So if I have this one on as well, go all the way dim. Now it's at 11 watts. So I'd imagine between 1 and 5 watts. You'll learn more about the charging. We're not experts. We've kind of figured it out, but you just want to be cognizant of the amount of watts you're drawing, that you don't get a dead battery, because that is, it's not fun. So that's the lights. Pretty straightforward. Speaking of lights, we're at a brand new location. So we ran out of time at the Minnesota spot. We're back here in Michigan, kind of near Copper Harbor. I mean, you can tell because I'm wearing a completely new outfit. Next thing on the list, the old sunroof. So if you don't get the rooftop tent, you get this pretty cool skylight roof vent. It's a window that opens. You get some good light from the top. Basically, they cut a hole in it no matter what. If you get the rooftop tent, you get just a little portal to pass through. If you don't get the rooftop tent, you get this skylight. Now, this is all sealed, but it does open. You just pull this little tab situation. It opens pretty much all the way. And then it has an insect screen that slides across, which is cool. And then it also has a blackout curtain that slides across as well. We had this closed. We were at the Walmart parking lot the other night, and it was totally dark in here, so it works really well. Same with the insect screen. Now, you want to make sure you close this before you drive off. It has 3 positions, so it's like partially vented and then closed, and it just kind of locks in this little bar like this. It's pretty sweet. You get some nice views of the stars if you're sleeping where Kathleen sleeps. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Big fans of this. Now we're going to talk about the bunk. I'm just laying up here to give you a sense of scale. I fit great. This is where I sleep. I can lay down fully across it. I'm a big 911. I'm a full 5'11". Fit great up here. Got some pillows. It's like a full-size mattress size, basically. So I'm going to get off so you can actually see it, and we'll tell you more about it. So I believe this is a full XL, which is like the longer version of a full, so it's not quite a queen. The full XL sheet fits perfectly. These are the cushions that Scout gives you. We put this extra little mattress topper there for a little more cushion. Works pretty good. Sheet on top of that. Top sheet and blankets. It feels just like my bed at home, maybe a little bit firmer, but I find it very comfortable. It always looks perfectly tucked in, obviously. It does get pretty warm up here when you have the heater on. We decided to go with the front bunk windows. You see those up there? If you don't get those, you get 2 little nets that go there instead, but you don't get any light coming in from the front. I really enjoy having the light up there, especially because it can get a little claustrophobic in there without it, I would assume. But they're nice to give a little bit of light. Those windows don't have the vent feature, but they do have a few positions of openness, which we'll show you from the outside in just a second. Now we talked a little bit about the bunk extensions. The way those work is these little boards slide out like this. Then they have a strap that hooks on up here, and it kind of holds you up like that. Now my big leg, I feel like would just pop right through there. It didn't feel super sturdy. We've kind of heard some rumblings that they are easy to break. We didn't want to risk it. They're also kind of a lot to set up because you got to use cables and stuff. So medium regret on those. We're probably going to take those out, especially because this bunk here is so easy to put together. So we don't carry around all the parts for the bunk extenders because we don't use them. If you want a full video on that, let us know. We can set them up and kind of give a more thorough review. Maybe we're wrong, who knows? The one thing that it does do is it helps prevent condensation between the mattress and the wall of the camper. There is an option if you don't get the bunk extenders to get a system that goes beneath there to help with that. We chose the bunk extenders instead. Speaking of the table, check this out. So this is for 2 people. Probably fit 4 if you're skinny. This is not real wood. It's particle board, which in my opinion is better because if it's gonna get wet, all sorts of different temperatures, I think it's a smarter move. It's got a veneer on top. It looks great. I think this table is awesome. So it folds down to become a bunk. But the other thing that's really nice is that when you're cooking, you got your stove here. We were worried about counter space, right? Because as you can see, there's not too much space to be actually prepping food. But what we realized is that kind of between the stove, you have the sink, the stove, the table, and the fridge, which we'll get to in a second, just you wait. You get this kind of triangle workstation situation that works really well. So I'll be prepping food here, cooking here. Kathleen, when we're both inside cooking, Kathleen will be sitting here prepping stuff from the bag, handing me forks, utensils, spices, whatever I need. She's there on the spot. I mean, this is better than the kitchen in our old house, to be quite frank. With definitely a good space to cook. Seats are comfortable. Sit here, I mean, we play games here. We sit here, play chess. The lighting is nice. Like in here, it's beautiful. The light comes straight down the table. This fabric seems pretty cleanable. Hank puked here the other day. Got some puke on the seat, cleaned it right up. So far, we really like this. This table, as a bonus, you can take it completely out. So you can unscrew it from the floor there. I don't know necessarily why you want to do that, but if you didn't want to bring an extra table with you, you want a table outside, you're good to go. There's also these bonus cubbies underneath the seat, which is cool. There's no storage under that one. I don't know why, but there's not. There is storage under here, which is nice. We keep an extra battery, the fan, lantern, some odds and ends. So yeah, I'm gonna fold this down and show you what it's like as a bunk. Okay, like I said, to fold this down, it's super easy. Little knob underneath the table, you pull back towards you, and then it just kind of slides down a little circular track. These are Velcro to the back of the wall. Slide that one in, pull this one down, slide that one in. Kind of do a little bit of that action. You're good to go. So Kathleen is 5'8". She can lay down in here comfortably. I think she said she can lay fully spread out. There's a little USB charger right there on the fridge, which is kind of nice. Shouts out to Dometic. When it's folded down, I can just kind of scooch up into bed, scooch out, totally easy. She sleeps down here with Hank. He likes to cuddle up. So yeah, solid little bed. I feel like this is kind of an under talked about portion of the Scout because it is a super nice place to sleep. Now Kathleen says she finds this pretty comfortable. She doesn't notice like this gaps between like the cushions and everything, and I choose to believe her because why would she lie about that, you know? I feel like I'd know if it wasn't comfortable. And then this just pulls out, there's no release. You're back in action. So the next cool thing that I feel like doesn't get talked about enough is this ledge here is super nice. We throw a bunch of stuff up here. At night it becomes a nightstand. It holds water bottles, cameras, gear, everything. Just kind of sits on this ledge. Currently, we have to take everything off of it pretty much before we drive because it's gonna fall off. There's a bunch of people out there who put little baskets and things like that on there, which we will definitely do eventually. But for now, it's just a nice shelf to put stuff on. We keep our laundry bag stored right here. It's kind of hooked at that back loop. I think we showed you this earlier. REI laundry bag, shouts out. So that becomes a nice little ledge to store stuff. I don't think there's much more to talk about. The reason this is here, which we wanted at first, why didn't they just make the cabin wider? This is all your outdoor gear storage and where the propane lives and all that stuff. So super handy. Becomes like a double whammy, so to speak. All right, so coming back from the shelf is the heater. This is our new favorite thing because this is our first time camping in the Scout in cold weather. So as you can see, this box back here, pretty cool, is a diesel heater that shoots in through these vents here. So this is the output, this is the input. So this is pulling cold air from the inside of the Scout through a little bit of magic, I think. And it blows hot air out of this thing. My favorite thing to do is take my sleeve when it's blowing hot and go like that. It just heats y'all up. Highly recommend. The way it's controlled is by this touchscreen. Now, might have to tag Kathleen in here to tell you how it works because I forget. But you press the middle, I just turned it on. It's slowly gonna spool up. You can kind of hear it. You hear it? When it feels the temperature get too cold, it'll kick back on. It'll keep it within 3 degrees of your selected temperature. So we set it at like 62. Once it kicks down to 59 or 58, I don't know, kicks back on. As you can hear, she's a diesel. What we've noticed is it's kind of nice to have it slowly ramp up because it doesn't just like, like kick on super loud all at once. So I've never been woken up by it. It's pretty quiet. Everything's outside, especially with the door closed.
It's really not that loud.
You're right. It's not loud at all. There's no noise issue. It's very
just
quiet.
nice that it's slow.
Right now it's blowing cold air, but once it kind of ramps up, it'll start blowing hot air. Now, there's 2 settings you got to adjust. Number 1 is to make it so that it keeps the temperature. The second one is so that it reads the temperature from this little temperature gauge instead of the one that's inside of the screen, because then it's not going to read the right temperature. You press the wrench icon at the top right, you press heating mode, and you can choose which sensor you want to use. You want to choose external sensor because that's the one on the outside of this little box here. You want to make sure that timer on is unchecked. You want timer on unchecked. That means your heater is not going to turn off after a certain amount of time, right? It's just unlimited heat, going to keep going, keep you cooking, all right? I know everything's our favorite, but our next favorite thing is this fridge. This thing, mwah, chef's kiss. So this is the Dometic CFX fridge. This is the double-sided model. A lot of people use this as a freezer. You can set both sides to whatever temperature you want, so you can have it all be a freezer. If you got like a bunch of ice cream you got to take home, totally up to you. What we found is that even on a long vacation like this, we're here over I think 8 days, 10 days, something. We only have one side running at a time, which means you draw way less power. So we're drawing about 10 watts with the fridge running. It'll draw probably 20 or so when it's turning on and cooling down to temperature. Otherwise, it's pretty kind of even keeled. Doesn't take much. This is so nice. So even though it might look smaller on one side than like a Yeti cooler, you don't have to worry about ice juicing all your meats up, getting it all wet and gross, taking up all your space. We have more than enough room in here for some Betty's pies and some salmon dip. And all of our food basically stays in here. It has a light, which is super nice. Never had any problems with it. This side is a little smaller because the cooling like mechanism is over on this side, so there's kind of a step in this one. But like I said, we have this one off. We just hold like bread, tortillas, hot dog buns and stuff in there that doesn't have to be refrigerated, but it still might get crushed. So keep that stuff all safe there. And then, like I said, this becomes a prep counter, which is great. Put a cutting board on here, make some sandwiches on here, whatever you want to do. Overall, fridge is just awesome. My only question, does that light stay on when I close the fridge? Let's find out. I guess not, or I guess so. Okay, so underneath the fridge is some storage room. So we have a beautiful little basket that my uncle gave us. Shouts out to Uncle Dave. This under here becomes storage for granola bars, club crackers, everything. We keep trash bags and laundry bag or garbage bags under there. This ended up just fitting like perfectly in here. It keeps stuff from falling out. There's lips on the bottom of all the different cubby holes, so everything stays in there pretty well. The top of this is covered in some weird fabric foam thing that's kind of strange, kind of hard to clean. Might find a way to cover that up, but it kind of just holds dust, which is kind of strange. The cubbies down here is awesome. Now, if you opt to go with the toilet, a cassette toilet, that is stored in there. We have not pooped in here yet, so we keep our food in there, but that is where that would go if you do choose to get the toilet. We didn't want one. I like to be outside in nature, you know, is what it is. Yeti bottle opener. I actually don't know if we've used that yet, but it is attached right to there. This is the other side of the door handle. There's like a sandwich in there. Other thing right below here is your carbon monoxide sensor. Super important to figure out how that works. It's green light on, so I'm assuming everything's good. Moving up from there is the heart of the operation. This is where everything is powered off of. Lots of cables, lots of power going on here. So this is a Goal Zero, I believe it's 2,000 watt power bank. It is charged off of either a solar panel or the car. We have it plugged into the car because we're driving around. It's kind of overcast. You can switch back and forth. Honestly, the Goal Zero could be the subject of an entire video series on its own. We've gone through a lot of, I'll call them learning experiences with them. Definitely a learning curve when you start working with the solar power, fridge power, everything, you know, kind of working as a system. So that would probably be its own dedicated video. If you want that, let me know, leave a comment with some questions about it, anything you're wondering, and we'll try to cover that in a future video. Just know that it works really well. You can charge it off your car, off of solar, or off of shore power. We got the fast charger, which you have to buy separately, but it charges to 100% in about 2.5 to 3 hours, I think, versus like 7 to 8 hours with the regular charger. So definitely worth the upgrade if you think you're going to be, you know, having access to shore power at any point during your trips. Overall, solid, super cool. So this is the plug for the fridge. If your fridge isn't working, make sure you have that button turned on. You have to turn on each one of these individual zones. The lights are plugged in here through that cable. There is more stuff plugged in up there. You can have extra solar panels, all sorts of stuff. One thing I would recommend, only have one input plugged in at the same time. So you see, this is our solar input. We have that unplugged right now because we're driving around, so we want to make sure that we're charging off of the truck. Sometimes the battery can get confused as to which input it should be taking. So we just eliminate that question in the Goal Zero's mind, and we tell it what to do. So we have the truck plugged in right now because we're driving around, and it'll give us about 120 watts input, 127. Solar will go up to, I think, 190, 185, I think is the solar panel's rating. But right now we're sitting at 100% because we were at a campsite that had power last night, and it's been plugged into the truck for a couple hours this morning. So overall, it's a great system. Wish there was a little bit less spaghetti wire going on, but maybe that'll be the subject of a future video. Okay, the last stop on our tour is going to be the floor of the Scout. This is the foundation for everything on the floor. So when you get your Scout camper, it will not have this. This is a special edition. This is a puzzle mat that we bought at Home Depot somewhere in Washington. So we grabbed that because we wanted to, number one, keep this clean, but also the puzzle mat's nice on your feet, because underneath this is just, you know, the hard floor of the camper. This mat is pretty nice. It doesn't really stain too bad. My dog puked right there a couple nights ago. Can't even see it. So we put the puzzle mat in there. We've got the fire extinguisher there. This comes out. That one comes out if you pull the table out. But these are great. I mean, they're kind of like, you know, meant to not show dirt. The puzzle mat fits like perfectly in there. We originally got the puzzle mats for a completely different reason. Puzzle mats and Scout campers, what can I say? There's so much to say about puzzle mats and Scout campers. So maybe there's gonna be a future video titled Puzzle Mats, Scout Campers, and You, and we will show you all the different places puzzle mats make your Scout camper a wonderful place to be. So yeah, these mats just go right inside of here, pretty much the perfect size, and they make you a lot more comfortable to stand on. I'm sure you can get a thicker mat if you wanted, but I mean, that's enough for us. So that's the inside of the Scout. I think we covered just about everything. Obviously the battery, whole nother kit and caboodle to talk about, so leave your questions down below. If you think we missed anything, if you have any questions about any measurement, any size of anything, will this thing fit, will it not? Let us know, leave a comment, send us a DM, carry pigeon, whatever you want to do. We've got an exterior video tour coming up, so if you've got any questions about that, any little odds and ends you want to know, measurements, things like that, leave a comment about that, and we'll try to get all those answered coming up shortly. But for now, I think we're gonna finish our camping trip. How's that sound?
Yeah.
We'll do that. It's up to you guys. Like, subscribe, share, follow, send me $1, give me a kiss, whatever you want to do. See you next time.